Ellen sipped her tea, not looking at me. I've fallen in love with someone else, she said softly, as if it meant nothing. My fingers gripped the edge of the table, my heart cracked. The world I called home shattered in an instant. I stood at the kitchen counter, my fingers digging into the wood as Ellen sat at the table, sipping her tea. She didn't look at me when she spoke, her voice calm, like she was commenting on the weather. I've fallen in love with someone else, she said. My chest tightened, the air gone. I waited for her to take it back, to laugh, but she just tapped her spoon against the cup, the sound sharp in the silence. What did you say? My voice shook, barely audible. She sighed, finally meeting my eyes, her gaze steady, impatient. You heard me, Andrew. I don't want to lie anymore. This has been going on for 6 months. 6 months. Half a year of her smiling at me, cooking dinner, sleeping beside me, while she belonged to someone else. Last weekend, we'd watched a movie, her head on my shoulder, laughing at the same lines. Was that a lie too? My stomach churned, and I gripped the counter harder to stay upright. Who is he? I asked, dreading the answer. It doesn't matter, she said, her tone clipped. He makes me feel alive. You don't. Her words hit like a punch. Alive. As if I'd been draining her. As if the life we built, 12 years of it, was nothing. I thought of the times I'd stayed up fixing her car, the vacations I planned to see her smile, the nights I held her when she cried over work. All for nothing. You're serious? I said, my voice low, hoping she'd falter. She nodded. No hesitation. I want to be honest. I can't keep pretending. Honest. The word burned. Where was her honesty when she let me believe we were okay? I wanted to yell, to demand answers, but my throat closed up. Instead, I stared at her, searching for a crack in her resolve, something to show she still cared. There was nothing, just her steady gaze and that damn spoon tapping. Why now? I managed, my hands trembling. Because I'm tired of this, she said, standing, her chair scraping the floor. I'm tired of us. I need more. More. More than me, than our life, than the man who'd given everything. I felt the ground shift, like the world I knew was slipping away. She didn't apologize, didn't soften. She just picked up her cup and walked to the sink, leaving me standing there, my heart in pieces. I need air, I muttered, grabbing my keys. She didn't stop me, didn't call after me. The door slammed behind me, and I stepped into the cold evening, my breath visible in the dusk. I walked, not knowing where, my mind racing. 6 months. How did I miss it? Was I too busy, too blind? The question stung, but worse was the truth. She'd chosen someone else, and I wasn't enough. I ended up at a park bench, the one where we'd sat years ago, planning our future. Now it felt like a lie. My phone buzzed, her name on the screen. A text. Asterisk, we need to talk more. Come home. Asterisk, I stared at it, anger rising. Talk. She'd said enough. I turned the phone off and sat in the dark, the weight of her betrayal pressing down. I didn't know what came next, but I knew one thing. I couldn't go back to that kitchen, to her cold eyes. Not yet did I walk the city streets, the cold biting through my jacket, my thoughts a tangle of anger and doubt. Ellen's words echoed. Asterisk, he makes me feel alive. You don't. Asterisk, had I missed the signs? The late nights she claimed were work, the way she'd pull away when I touched her? I replayed our last vacation, her laughter at the beach, her hand in mine. Was it all fake? My chest ached, not just from betrayal, but from the fear I'd been blind, too caught up in routine to see her slip away. I stopped at a diner, the neon sign buzzing above the door. I slid into a booth, ordered coffee I didn't want, and stared at the steam rising from the mug. The truth hit hard. 12 years, and I wasn't enough. I thought of the times I'd put her first, skipping my photography hobby to pay for her graduate degree, staying up to talk her through job stress. Had she ever noticed? Or was I just the guy who kept things running while she dreamed of more? A familiar voice broke my thoughts. Andrew, you look like you've seen a ghost. It was Tom, my old high school buddy, standing there with a takeout bag, his grin fading as he saw my face. He slid into the booth across from me, uninvited but welcome. What's going on? He asked, his tone serious. I hesitated, then let it spill. Ellen's been with someone else. 6 months. She says she loves him. The words tasted bitter, like admitting defeat. Tom leaned back, exhaling. Damn, that's rough. What did she say exactly? She's tired of me. Says I don't make her feel alive. I clenched the coffee mug, the heat stinging my palms. I thought we were solid. I thought she was happy. He shook his head. She's the one who screwed up, not you. You're the guy who shows up, Andrew. Always have been. She's chasing a fantasy, but that's on her. His words didn't erase the pain, but they grounded me. I wasn't alone in this. Tom stayed, talking about his kids, his messy divorce years ago, how he'd rebuilt. You'll get through it, he said. But don't let her make you feel small. I nodded, the knot in my chest loosening just a fraction. I left the diner, the night colder now. I walked to the riverfront where Ellen and I used to sit on weekends, planning our future. The bench was empty, the water dark and rippling. I sat, my mind racing. Had I been too predictable? Too focused on paying bills, fixing leaks, being the steady one? Self-doubt gnawed at me, but anger pushed back. She'd chosen to lie, to hide, to throw us away. That wasn't my fault. My phone buzzed. Another text from Ellen. Asterisk, where are you? We need to figure this out. Asterisk, I stared at it, my thumb hovering over the screen. Figure what out? She'd already decided. I typed a reply. Asterisk, I need space. Don't call. Asterisk, I hit send and turned the phone off, the silence a small act of defiance. I wasn't ready to face her, to hear her justify what she'd done. I kept walking, the city blurring around me. I thought about the years I'd spent building our life, every sacrifice, every compromise. I'd given up dreams, like that photography course I'd wanted, to make her happy. And for what? To be told I wasn't enough? The anger surged, but beneath it was something heavier, grief. Not just for her, but for the man I'd been, the one who believed in us. I ended up at a 24-hour gym, a place I hadn't been in months. I didn't have gear, but I paid for a day pass and hit the treadmill, running until my lungs burned. Each step pounded out the questions. Why me? What did I miss? By the time I stopped, sweat dripping, I felt clearer. I couldn't change what she'd done, but I could choose what came next. I didn't know what that was yet, but I knew I wouldn't beg her to stay. I crashed at a cheap motel nearby, too raw to go home. Lying on the stiff bed, I stared at the ceiling, Tom's words echoing. She's chasing a fantasy. Maybe she was. But I wasn't going to be her fallback, the safe guy she could return to when the shine wore off. I closed my eyes, exhaustion pulling me under, and decided one thing. Tomorrow, I'd start figuring out who I was without her. I hadn't been home in 2 days, crashing at the motel to avoid Ellen's texts and the weight of our shattered life. But I couldn't hide forever. I drove back, my stomach knotted, knowing she'd be there. When I walked in, she was on the couch, scrolling her phone, her posture casual like nothing had happened. The sight of her indifference sparked anger I'd been holding back. We need to talk, I said, my voice sharper than I intended. She set her phone down, sighing as if I were an inconvenience. Andrew, don't make this harder than it is. I didn't want it to end like this. End. I stepped closer, my hands clenching. You ended it 6 months ago when you started lying. You don't get to act like I'm the one blowing this up. Her eyes narrowed, but her tone stayed calm, calculated. I was unhappy. You were always so predictable. Work, home, repeat. I needed more. He gives me that. Her words cut deeper than I expected. Predictable. I thought of the nights I'd stayed late fixing her presentations, the weekends I'd planned trips to make her smile. I'd been steady, not boring. But she'd twisted it to justify her betrayal. Who is he? I asked, needing to know, even if it hurt. She hesitated, then said, Mark. He's a client from work. It just happened. Her voice softened, but it felt like a performance, not regret. Mark. I'd heard her mention him. Successful, charming, always calling her for meetings. I trusted her, never questioned the late dinners. Now, it clicked. The way she'd light up talking about him, the extra care she took getting ready for those meetings. I felt like a fool. So you've been lying to my face for half a year, I said, my voice low, trembling. And you think you could just walk away like it's nothing? I'm not the bad guy here, she snapped, standing now. I tried to make this work. But you were too busy playing the perfect husband to notice I was suffocating. Suffocating? I laughed, bitter. I gave you everything, Ellen. I put my dreams on hold for you. My photography, my trips. I paid for your degree, held you when you cried. And this is what I get. She crossed her arms, her jaw tight. You're making it sound like I owe you. I didn't ask for that. Her words were a slap, stripping away the last shred of hope I'd had for us. She didn't see my sacrifices, only her own wants. I wanted to scream, to make her feel the pain she'd caused, but I saw it then. She'd never take responsibility. She'd rewrite our story to make herself the victim. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Tom, checking in. I ignored it, focusing on her. You don't get to blame me for this, I said, my voice steady now. You chose to cheat. You chose to lie. That's on you. She rolled her eyes, a gesture that stung more than her words. Fine, Indriu, be the martyr. But we both know this marriage was dead long before Mark. Her certainty, her cold dismissal, broke something in me. Not my heart. It was already cracked, but my need to fix this. I'd spent years being the one who held us together, smoothing her edges, swallowing my own hurts. No more. Pack your things, I said, my voice flat. I want you out. She froze, clearly not expecting that. You're serious? Where am I supposed to go? That's not my problem, I said, turning away. You wanted more. Go find it. I walked to the kitchen, my hands shaking as I poured water, needing something to do. I heard her footsteps, the rustle of her grabbing her bag. She paused at the door, and for a moment, I thought she'd say something, sorry, maybe, or a plea to stay. But she just left, the door clicking shut behind her. I stood there, the silence deafening. My anger faded, replaced by a hollow ache. I'd loved her, built my life around her, and now she was gone. I sank onto a chair, staring at nothing. Tom's text glowed on my phone. Asterisk, you good? Call if you need me. Asterisk, I didn't reply. Not yet. I needed to sit with this, to feel the weight of what I'd lost, and what I'd gained by standing up for myself. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the couch, replaying our fight, her excuses, the way she turned my devotion into a flaw. But I also thought of Tom's words. She screwed up. Not you. He was right. I wasn't perfect, but I'd been honest, loyal. She'd thrown that away, not me. By dawn, I made a decision. I wouldn't let her define me. I'd find a way forward. Even if it meant starting over alone, I'd been back in the city for a week. The silence of the house both heavy and freeing. Ellen had moved out, her things gone, leaving empty spaces where her books and shoes used to be. I didn't miss her as much as I'd expected. Just the idea of her, the life I thought we'd had. One morning, my phone buzzed with a text from her. Asterisk, can we meet? I need to talk. Asterisk, I stared at it, my thumb hovering. Part of me wanted to ignore her, but I needed closure, not avoidance. We met at a coffee shop downtown, the hum of chatter filling the air. She sat across from me, stirring her latte, her eyes tired, less certain than before. I made a mistake, she said, her voice low. Mark, he's not who I thought. I am sorry, Indu. I didn't mean to hurt you. Her apology sounded real, but it didn't land. I saw it now. She wasn't sorry for betraying me, only for the mess it left her in. You didn't just hurt me, I said, my tone even. You broke us. And you don't get to come back because your new life didn't work out. She flinched, her hands tightening around her cup. I thought maybe we could try again. I know I messed up, but we had something good. I said, cutting her off. Past tense. You chose Mark. You chose to lie for 6 months. I'm not your fallback plan. My voice was steady, each word a brick in the wall I was building between us. She looked down, silent, then nodded. I understand. I hope you're okay. I didn't respond. Her hope felt hollow, like her apology. She left first, her chair scraping as she stood, and I stayed, finishing my coffee, feeling lighter than I had in weeks. That afternoon, I filed for divorce. The lawyer's office was quiet, the paperwork straightforward. Signing my name felt like cutting a chain, painful but necessary. I didn't want revenge, just freedom. Ellen would face her own consequences, alone, and that was enough. Tom called as I left the lawyer's, his voice bright. You up for fishing this weekend? The lake's calling. I laughed, the sound surprising me. Count me in, I said, already picturing the quiet water, the easy banter. He'd been there through this, not pushing, just present, and it reminded me I wasn't starting over from nothing. I signed up for a photography course that evening, one I'd shelved years ago to support Ellen's dreams. The first class was in a week, and I bought a used camera online, my fingers itching to hold it. I imagined capturing sunrises, city streets, moments that were mine alone. The thought sparked something, excitement, maybe, or purpose. I hadn't felt that in years. The next day, I went for a run, the same route I'd taken after a fight. My lungs burned, but my head was clear. I thought about Ellen's words in the coffee shop, her attempt to pull me back. She'd underestimated me, assumed I'd wait, like always. But I wasn't that man anymore, the one who fixed her messes, who swallowed his own needs. I'd given her 12 years. The next ones were mine. I stopped by the river, the same spot where I'd sat the night she confessed. The water moved steadily, carrying away the weight of that memory. I pulled out my phone and texted Tom. Thanks for having my back. He replied instantly. Always, man, I smiled, pocketing the phone, and kept running, the rhythm of my steps grounding me. That night, I cooked dinner, steak simple the way I liked it. I ate alone, no TV, just the sound of my own thoughts. They weren't all good. The pain of Ellen's betrayal lingered, a bruise that would fade slowly. But it didn't define me. I washed the dishes, the warm water calming, and thought about the photography class, the fishing trip, the open road ahead. Before bed, I stood on the balcony, the city lights stretching out below. I'd loved Ellen, built a life for her, and she'd thrown it away. But I was still here, standing, choosing myself. The divorce papers were filed, the camera was on its way, and Tom was waiting for the weekend. It wasn't a fairy tale, but it was enough. I went to bed, the hum of the city outside, and slept without dreaming of her.